that I've been talking a lot about the scriptures and the teachings of the Church of God, but right now I think I want to take a different route. I want to talk about the red flags, the things that you will see when you're encountering a Church of God member or when you become a member of the Church of God. The first thing I want to talk about is love bombing and how it is applied in an abusive relationship. Now, most abusive relationships are not abusive from the jump. Usually they're romantic or they're compassionate or they're really kind and loving relationship to begin with. But then later you see a shift, not an obvious shift, but you'll see a change in the relationship. It's no longer loving and kind and romantic like it used to be. Now it becomes abusive. And the victims tend to stay in abusive relationships because of that initial contact, because of the love bombing that happened in the beginning. So what's the difference between love bombing and actually loving someone? Well, love bombing is when you're overwhelmed with compliments and flattery. You know, you're the best at everything. You're the most beautiful. You're the most precious. You have the most beautiful mind. You hear that a lot in the Church of God. Now, who does that? What normal person compliments you 5 to 7 times a day on a daily basis? Think about the person you have the best relationship with. If you're a Church of God member, think about the person you had the best relationship with before you joined the church. How many times did that person compliment you on a daily basis? How many times did that person flatter you on a daily basis with words? Now compare that to the flattery and the compassion you have received as a member of the Church of God. There's a drastic difference. The Church of God members say, "I love you," like it's going out of style. They compliment you and continue to flatter you, even though you really aren't that special. You really aren't the best singer. You really aren't the most beautiful. Because how can you be the most beautiful and I'm the most beautiful as well? There's only one most beautiful. There's only one who can be the best. So let's think about love bombing in a different sense, aside from the Church of God. What about our children? Not that we all have children, but think about children in general, little boys and little girls. We tell them don't talk to strangers. Now, I know my mom asked my daughter, what if, the stranger is nice to you and says you're pretty? Will you go with him? She says yes. She's like, no. If a stranger says you're pretty or gives you a compliment like that, do not go with them. She's like, okay. Then my mom asked my daughter, what if a stranger wants to give you candy, wants to give you something you like, wants to give you a toy? Do you go with them? My daughter said, yeah, they have a toy. Of course I'll go with them. My mom said, no. If a stranger wants to give you candy or a toy or something like that, do not go with them. Now, why do we say this? Because the person that is love bombing the child right now is probably a pedophile, a rapist, a murderer. It's probably someone who wants to do harm to this child. So when we were children, we were told to stay away from people who love bomb us, who give us flattery and try to convince us that they're nice people and that we should go with them. And yet here we are adults, and I'm talking about those of us who were members of the Church of God and those of us who still are. Here we are adults, witness this same red flag that we were taught to run away from as children, and yet we stay in the Church of God. Most normal people don't love bomb. We know that actions speak louder than words. If you love me so much, why do you have to say it so much? I should already know you love me by the way you treat me, by the way you show your love to me without moving your lips. Like I said, the Church of God says, I love you like it's going out of style. You will receive so many compliments on a daily basis. And the less you go to Zion, the more love bombing you receive. They will show up at your house unannounced if you give them your address. If you give them your phone number, you'll get phone calls, text messages, voicemails. If you give them your email, you'll get messages all day. No normal person does that. Unless you're a mother, But that love bombing is a red flag. And it's always been a red flag. Since we were kids to now.